Hi YouTube, and welcome to another video. Today we are here to do the applique portion to our block. We're going to show you how to applique the circle down to the block, but before we do that, we're going to go to the word of the Lord, and then we're going to get right into the tutorial. Today's word of the Lord is coming from Genesis chapter 15 Genesis chapter 50 verses 15 to 21. And it reads, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, perhaps Joseph will hate us and may actually repay us for all the evil we did to him. So they sent messengers to Joseph, saying, before your father died, he commanded, saying, thus you shall say to Joseph, I beg you, please forgive the trespasses of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. Now please forgive the trespass of your servants of the God of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then the brothers also went and fell down before his face and said, behold, we are your servants. Joseph said to them, do not be afraid, for I am in the place of God. But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring it about so in this day to save many people. Now therefore do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. May the Lord have add a blessing to the readers, the hearers, and the doers of his holy word. Thank you for joining me for the word of the Lord. And today we are going to do the applique portion. Now I've already did all of my circles, and I'm going to just show you how to do one today. And then I already showed you in the last video how to sew it together. So you already know how to sew it together, but this one is not appliqued yet. So I'm going to applique that one off camera, and I'm going to applique one of these on camera today. I've also already completed all of my little 8 patches, and I showed you how to do these 8 patches in the last video. I've pressed them, I've completed them all, and I've pressed them all. So go ahead and complete all yours and get all yours pressed. You can do it before you applique your circles on, or you could do it after. But I'm going to turn the camera down and show you some of the things that you will need to do the applique portion of the quilt. And I have a lot of things, but a lot of them are duplicates. So we'll talk about them. Okay, so to do the applique, I have the thread haven. Remember, we talked about the thread haven. And this is just some thread conditioner. And I have these, some of them are super, super old. Some of them are a little bit newer, but like this one is really, really old, but I still use it because it's still moist. Or even if it wasn't moist, I could dig out the top of it and still use what's down in the bottom, or scrape it out and put it on top of another one. And so some of these, like I said, I just get them from, I got most of these, one of them from the local quilt store, and then the rest of them probably came from like a event sale, a estate sale or something. So I have my thread haven. I have several different kinds of needles. This is just a needle case that I got from Joann's years ago, and it just houses a bunch of different needles. And so I have that to keep my needles in. And then these are some of the needles that I use, but you can use whatever needle will work for you, but a thinner needle works the best. And these are called John James, and I think I got them at a real quilt store. But you can get some, and these are size number 9. So I think I use size number 9, 10, and 11. Some of them are a little bit longer. These ones are a little bit short, but that's okay because they work. And some of these are sharp. Well, these are all sharp. Both of these are sharp needles. That's the name of them. And then this will be your best friend. This is a needle threader. It has a cutter, a needle threader, and a slot for putting the needles. And I'll show you how to use this. If you can still see to put the thread through the eye of the needle, you can do that as well. But my eyes are a little old now, a little older, a little bit more mature, so I use a needle threader. A pair of scissors, but you can use the scissors or you can use the little cutter that's on the top of the needle threader. These are a couple of different kinds of threads. Excuse me, these two are silk threads, different colors. This one's color number 242. It's a little bit more brown. And this is color number 212. And there's the numbers on it, 212 for that one and 242 for that one. So whichever one. One thing about silk thread is it hides itself in your project. So both of these are silk thread, 100% silk thread. So I'll probably use this one because it's lighter, but you can use this one as well. You can use either one. And then this looks like another silk thread that someone gave me because I didn't buy this one. I think this one was given to me or came in a kit of some other things that I bought. The other thing that I have is these little needle cases. Now I bought one of them. And then the other ones, like if I go to a sale or something, like I said, and it's there, I will purchase them, you know, because you can get them for a couple of bucks. And these you can get at, well, when I got mine years ago, I probably had it for 20 years or so. I got it at Joann's Fabrics. I got this at Joann's Fabrics. And this is what you can house your needles in. And so all of these are little needles. And you can thread up your thread. Let's see, this one have thread on it. Yeah, these needles are all threaded. You can thread up your thread, and then you can stick them in those little holes so you'll already have thread available to you to get started on your project. And I'll show you how to thread up one if you had one. So you would just take your needle, you stick it in the little needle hole. Let's see, I'm going to put it this way. You take your thread and you would put your thread in the little slot, and it tells you right there, thread slot. And then you just press it down and pull it up, and it threads the needle for you. It's a really neat little gadget. And if you do any type of applique, it's well worth it, especially if you have more mature eyes like I do. So then you can just cut your thread with your scissors, if they'll cut, but if they don't cut, there is a needle cutter right there. So then you would take your thread, and I put my thread, I even up the ends, and if I was going to put it in my little case, because I was going to fill this case up with needles, I would just, there are little holes. There are little holes there. So what you would do is you would stick it in the hole, and then there's a slot. You would stick it in the slot, and then you would just spin it around, and it will take your thread up into the, I don't know if you can see that, but it will take the thread up into the little area. And then you will have thread ready. So when you're ready to use it, you just find your needle and you just pull it out, and it just pulls out automatically. It won't tangle or anything. And then what I do is, here's my thread haven, and I will just take my thread, lay it down in there. Let me move this out the way, And I would take my thread and I would smooth it, just run it through, let my finger in there, just run it through and condition my thread. This way your thread doesn't tangle all up. That's the purpose of the thread haven. And then I'm just going to take the ends of my thread, put my needle there, and wrap it around 2 to 3 times, and then pinch down on where I wrapped and bring it through. And then I have a little knot at the bottom of my thread. So then I'm going to take one of my blocks. Get these out of the way. I'll leave these things over here. Then I'm going to take my applique block. I'm going to turn it right side. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to start on the back, but I'm going to start close, like you can see the little circle through there, and I'm just going to start where I can pull it through, and I want to come up through, let me see, I want to come up through the little ridge of the circle. So it's in the back, and I just stick it back there, and I stick it up through the little, where the fold is on the block. And because I already put a knot in there, it shouldn't come through. But if yours does come through, just make a bigger knot. And then to applique your block down, all you're going to do is, let's see how I can do this. You're going to take it, let me see, I need to maybe pull it up a little bit. I want you to be able to see. Oh, going the wrong way. All right. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it, and you're going to just, you're going to put your needle always in the fold. So where the needle is coming out, where the thread is coming out, maybe I should have used a darker one. Maybe I'll use a darker thread next time. You just want to come up out of where the fold is. And I don't know if you can see that. Right there is coming out right on the fold. And then you're just going to pull it through. And then you're just going to go back behind where the needle was. Where the thread came out of. And then you're just going to pinch. So you always want to come out trying to hide your needle in the crease of the block. Let me see if I can use the other thread to see if that one will be a little bit more darker, that you can see better. Hold on, I'm going to re-thread this needle. Let's see. Take this needle. This thread's a little bit darker, not much, but just a little bit. So let's try to thread this one. So it just threads it right away. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to cut it. We're going to take it and we're going to find the ends. We're going to even up the ends. I want you to be able to see. See, is this thread a little bit darker? Maybe a little bit. We're going to even up the ends. We're going to wrap it around. We're going to pull it through to make a knot. It doesn't matter if your knot is ugly, because this is going to be on the back of your thread, the back of your quilt anyway. We're going to take our thread haven and we're going to pinch that thread down in there. We're just going to put the needle down. See how the needle is down in there? And then we're just going to pull the thread through just so we can coat the thread. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out so we can try to see. Let's see, we cut this one out, and let's pick up this one. So we're going to go back. I'm just going to go back in there. I'm going to start in the back, and I'm going to pull my, I'm going to get my thread to come out in the crease right on the edge of the fabric. I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to just take it, and I'm going to go underneath the white part and come out in the orange, but right on the edge, barely where you could see it. barely where you could see it. I hope I'm getting this good, because it's really simple. And then I'm just going to go, here is my thread. It's coming out right here. So wherever my thread is, I'm just going to go right behind that little part, but in the white, and come up in the crease. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm right in the crease of the orange. And if you look, you really can't even tell where I'm stitching at. You can see on the back where the stitching is, but you can't really see on the block. And that's the beauty of this silk thread. It just melts right into your fabric. So you just keep doing that, going behind and coming out in the crease of the of your circle. And it's just hiding that thread right in there, but it's stitching and attaching it. See if you can see that on the back. It's stitching and attaching it to the back, but you're not seeing it on the front. You really can't see it on the front. And you just will continue until you run out of thread. It takes probably about two threads, and you're only going about maybe a quarter of an inch away from you're coming up a quarter of an inch away from where you're going into the back. You just go back into let's see, hopefully you're getting to see that. You're just going in behind the thread, that where you came out of the thread, and you're just going about a quarter inch ahead into the fold of the orange block, and you're just coming back out. So I'm hoping, let me try to get that out the way. See, I'm just coming out right there. There's my needle. It's coming into the little fold of the fabric, the fold. Because you can't see the little interfacing that we put that's on the back of the block. You can't see that interfacing. So you just want to stitch the block down. You don't want to pull the thread too tight, but you just want to make sure there's no slack in the thread. And even if you did get a little bit of this thread on the front, because it's silk and it buries in, you're still not going to be able to see it. So even if this black block was a different color, you still wouldn't see. So trying to keep the background out. So I'm just going to continue to pull that. Continue to come up out of there. Let's see. And then I'm just going to continue to trying to keep see how I'm just coming out there. See, you're not able to see the thread on there, but you are able to see the thread on the back. But if you look at your block in the front, you're really not seeing that thread anywhere. And the trick is to just go behind it and try to get a piece of the background. But when you come up, you want to come up in the crease of the orange block of your of your circle. That way you're hiding the fabric in the circle, but when you're going into your background, you're going behind, you're picking up the white. And then when you're picking up the white, you're going into the orange after that. So it's not really hard. It's probably a little bit hard to see. I don't really have any other darker thread, but I'm hoping that you guys are being able to understand what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna take it and come up in the crease of the fold of my background circle. Just coming up in the fold, going back behind it in the white, coming up in the fold, pulling my thread just a little bit. And we're almost done with this piece of thread because we're gonna tie it off. All right, so now, well, I'm gonna go a couple of more stitches into, I wanna make sure that I pick up that orange background circle. And remember, you go behind in the white and you pick up in the crease of the orange or whatever your background color is. Now I'm going to stop it. I have about this much thread left, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop it right here, and I am going to take it to the back where it's coming out. And I want to make sure that I don't get it into the white because I don't want to see my thread on my background fabric. So I'm going to go back through the back, and then I'm just going to take a couple of stitches, making sure that I don't go through the background fabric. I can go underneath. And then what you can do is you can make a loop, and you can loop in there, and you can do that a couple of times, making sure not to go through to the front of your fabric because you don't want to see that on the front. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to cut my thread. Ooh, these scissors are really bad. I'm gonna have to get rid of them. And then what you could do is you could split that thread. If you can get it to split. You can leave a big enough piece where you can split it, and then you can tie a knot in it, a couple of knots in it to make sure it's not gonna come apart. Just gonna tie a knot. Then you can go righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you know how to do a surgeon's knot where you take it and you wrap one piece around a couple of times, you can do that as well. This is so short that I'm not going to be able to do that. But then I'm going to take it, and if I can't get it with if my scissors don't want to behave, don't forget, if you have one of these, this is a thread cutter as well. You can cut the thread with that. So if you can see, we're only halfway done with the block. If you can see, we only got halfway done. So now we're going to take another, we're going to thread our thread again, or if we have already put all of our threads into a needle case, we'll just pull out the next, thread. And I'm just going to pull it out, put my needle case back. I'm going to run my fabric through the fabric haven. I'm going to run my thread through the thread haven, the thread conditioner. That's all this is thread conditioner. I'm going to get my two pieces to the end, even. I'm going to take my needle. I'm going to lay it on my thread. Then I'm going to hold my thread and wrap it around 2-3 times, pinch it. And then I'm going to pull it down to the bottom and make a knot. My knot is too long. I'm going to either cut it on with my thread cutter, but don't cut the knot, or I'll cut it with my scissors, and I still have my knot. I don't know if you can see that, but I still have my knot. There it is. So now I'm going to go and find where I left off in the back, and right here, let's see, we left off right here. So then we're going to go and we're going to continue on with, let me see, I've got to make sure my hand is going to go the right way. So I'm just going to come up through the back again, come out through the front, I went through the back, here's my back, and I'm coming up through the front, and I'm on the little, see if you can see where that is, I'm in the little, here's my thread, my needle, see how it's coming through the little crease on the side, coming through the little crease, and I'm going to continue on. Background, let's see, background, coming through the little edge, behind, through the edge, through the background, through the edge, through the back of the background, up through the edge, from the background, through the edge, and I'm going to go all the way around until it meets on the other side, until I have this in a complete circle. Maybe I should have made a smaller one so it didn't have so much background. And then I'm just going to pull it. I'm not pulling super tight, but I am pulling to make sure that I have no slack in my thread. And for the backgrounds, when we cut these strips, we cut them at 8.5 inches. And you'll need, you remember we got 5 blocks out of each one, and we're doing 15 blocks. So I would say you would need like 1.5 yards, and that's going to be a little bit extra, but just in case you make a mistake, you'll have extra. So I would say make sure to get like about 1.5 yards for your background fabrics. Cut it into 8.5 inch strips, and then subcut those strips into 8.5 inch squares. And then you would need 15, or you can do however many blocks that you desire, but I'm doing 15. Keep getting that in my way. I don't want to, let's see, let's see, I probably should have maybe got some pins or something. Let me see if I can stick this needle in here to get it out of my way so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Let's see, let's take that one. Maybe that might help a little bit better if I pin that out the way a little bit. Let's see, take this. We don't need that thread in there. Take that thread out because we don't need that, and get rid of that one. So that way we can kind of pin the block back a little bit so you can kind of see. And I'm just pinning that block back so you can see what I'm doing. So then I'm going to, my thread is coming right here. So I'm just going to go back behind that white area that the thread is coming out, and I'm going to bring my needle up through the little crease of my back of my circle square, of my circle. And then I'm just going to continue to do that all the way around. And then if you do that all the way around, you'll meet back up where you left off at. You can keep checking. I don't want to make sure that I don't get this caught into my caught up. I only have a little bit left to do, so I'm just going to keep doing that. And it'll be easy. You'll get the hang of it, and it'll go really, really quick. So you can sit and do it while you're watching TV, while you're talking to friends, while you're on the phone. I would do it while I was on a plane watching movies. This would be my plane busy work, to where I wouldn't have to think about how God was keeping the plane up in the air. Because I definitely would ask those questions. Lord, how do you put it in the mind of a man to keep an airplane weighing all these pounds with all these people? how do you keep this plane up in the air? And this would preoccupy my mind from not having to think about how the plane was staying. Now I have I got a little, I had a little bubble in there from my thread. So you just have to fix it and just kind of pull up on the thread and then pull it through. You don't want to leave any slack in the thread at all. I think I'm feeling where I'm coming back full circle now. So I'm just going to go past it a little bit until I get that full circle. Think I'm meeting up and I'm full circle now. So what I'm going to do is now that I'm full circle, I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to, where it's coming out, and I'm going to put it all the way in the background. Back up through the fabric. Back up through the fabric. I'm going to pull it, and then I'm just going to take a couple of stitches, little small stitches, right where it's coming out at, making sure that I'm not coming through the block with the thread. Take a few more stitches, making sure that I'm not coming through the block. Only the background. Then I'm going to cut it up at the top. And then I'm going to take it and I am going to tie a couple of knots in it. Knot. Knot. And a knot. Then I can take my scissors or my little thread cutter, cut a little scissor, and there we have it. We have a full circle. We have a full circle, and we have it stitched down, and you can't really even see it. Don't think I see it anywhere. And don't pull it too tight, because you'll be able to, it'll pucker. But once you do one or two of them, you'll get the hang of it. So you might want to make a couple of extra blocks to just practice. But there it is. So all you'll need, just remember, a needle threader, or thread it with your eyes if you can. Some silk thread. I find this to be the best. It melts right into your fabric and you won't see it. That's why I like silk thread. Thread haven to condition your thread. This conditions your thread so it won't, see, my thread didn't get all tangled and staticky. It keeps the static out of your thread. That's what this is for. You can get this at probably should be able to get it at Joann's or a local quilt shop. I think I've gotten it at Joann's before. Silk thread you can get at Joann's. This I know you can get at Joann's. I've gotten this at Joann's, but I've had this about 25 years, and I've had these about 25 years as well. So, but yeah, so there you have it. Now we have our applique box. Go ahead and applique all of your circles down to your blocks, and then go ahead and make all of your 8 patches. And then once you're done with that, you're going to sew your 8 patches. You're going to sew the 8 patches to a block, and this is what you're going to have. And then when you're done, what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to start sewing our quilt together. And remember, I told you we're not going to match seams, so we're going to have one 8 block going up and one 8 block going down. And when we put them together, this is my old quilt, but when we put them together, there we have no seams. We have this seam up here and we have this seam down here, but no matching seams. And then we're going to press them. Then we're going to sew them together. And then this is our little quilt that we're making. Let me see if I can get this into the shot. So this is the little quilt that we're making. So we're going to put it together in, let's see, where did it go? We're going to put it together in rows of 3. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to go 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. So you can do it either way, or maybe it's 4 rows. It's going to be 15 blocks. So if it's 3 this way, it's going to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Or it'll be 5 that way, and it'll be down 3. So this is a small one, but we're going to make this. And once we make this, and it'll be with whatever fabrics you choose. It's not a very big quilt, so we're making a small one. And then after we finish doing our applique, after we finish doing all of our 8 patches and attaching our 8 patches, so that's the parts that you should have next. So I'm going to finish my sewing of my applique. I'm going to put together my fabrics to my 8 to the bottoms, and then the next step I'll come back and I'll have a stack of these, and I'll show you how to start putting the quilt together. We'll put the quilt together. So I will, today is Friday, I think March 7th, 8th or something like that. So probably next week, maybe by Sunday, hopefully I'll be done, and I'll be ready to come back and film putting it together. And then once we put it together, then we'll do another video where I show you how to sandwich it with a backing and a batting and the top. And you will need to get some backing fabric to do that, but I'll tell you how much you need. But just to go over what you need for this, you need a background fabric, and you're going to cut it 8.5 inch strips by 8.5 inches, and then you're going to do 15 of them. So you need 1.5 yards of fabric, and that's a generous amount. You need about 1 yard, but just have a little bit extra, and you can use that extra to make extra blocks to make yours bigger, or you can use it like maybe for some of the back to add it to the backing. You need some fat quarters or big enough pieces to get 6, or well, you need 6 by 9 to do the circles. So if you get 1 fat quarter, you will have enough to do all of this, but you won't have a big variety of fabrics. So I suggest you get 2 of those fat quarter bundles from Joann, a bundle 1 and a bundle 2 of matching fabrics that go together, and then you'll have a bigger variety for your quilt. And so you need 2 fat quarter bundles. That will get you the circles, and that will get you these, and it will get you the binding that we're going to use, because we're going to strip piece binding, but I'll show you that in a different video as well. So come back, make your 8 patches, make your circles, cut your background, applique your circles down, come back, and we'll do the next part of the quilt. Thank you for joining me. God bless you, and I hope you were able to see. And leave me comments down in the, leave me some comments to let me know how I'm doing, what I could do different. If you're understanding or not understanding, whatever I can help you to understand better. If I missed something, let me know. Any questions that you have, just leave me a comment, and I'm pretty quick at answering the questions, so I'll get back to answering your questions. So I thank you for watching. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for joining me. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and continue to enjoy the journey. God bless you. You have an awesome and an amazing day, my friends. Be blessed. Bye-bye.